Hello, and welcome back to a Fishy Plant Man video in the land of the seven suns. Yeah, I don't often say that last bit anymore, I guess. But I thought I would throw it in there this time just for giggles. You might be able to hear the fan in the background. It is like 95 degrees in here. I did a test video just to see how intrusive it was. And with the air pump for the aquarium off and the filter for the aquarium off, the fan by itself didn't seem too bad. So, here we go. This is not really about this Monstera, although it's doing well. And the other Monstera, we've got the Ficus chevriana in front of it, but I'll move it in a minute because, well, maybe not in a minute. It has a leaf, and a leaf to come. You'll see that briefly. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to have any fenestrations, but it is getting a new leaf too. There's the lucky bamboo, kind of going a little bit crazy, which is interesting because it is already bigger than this one hiding down in here. Now, it's pretty much getting all of its light blocked, but I'm not sure what to do about it. Every time I move those variegated ones around, they have a fit and die. But that's not really growing very fast, but it's doing pretty well, given that it's a tissue culture, and it's done pretty well for itself right there. It just doesn't grow. Anyway, this is to reintroduce a friend that I think some people, I don't know, may have thought even died. It hasn't. It's a little too tall for this camera angle, but yeah, here it is. It's getting a new leaf, and all the leaves above the yarn are actually doing well in the new spot, because we've got like this, and I think that was in the summertime too close to the window. There's another spot back there on another leaf. I think it was too close to the window, so I moved it back 6 feet or so. And all the new leaves are doing okay, though we're moving into fall and winter. So we'll see how it does in that spot next spring. But yep, it's still with us. It's just, I'm still a bit on the learning curve of what it wants and doesn't want. Like I say, above the yarn. Do I need to move the leaf to see the yarn? Yeah, it's cut. 2 leaves and a new one coming, so it's growing. And down here at the base, we have a lot of shamrock and seed pods growing everywhere. It does well. I try to control the seeds, but vacuum them up if they get on the floor, right? Down here, this is the side shoot that I thought may have been a different plant. Well, yeah, those leaves look different from that leaf, which I guess that's not quite the matriarchal leaf. That would be over there. My fingers are in the way. But yeah, it had a lot of leaves like that, kind of like that. So I thought that might have been a different plant entirely, especially with that ring. You know, it was below the ring. Oh, I'm sorry, but there's a ring there that it's coming up from below. I thought maybe they grafted a different plant onto rootstock. But if you come up here and look at, say, that leaf, you know, one behind it, this one even. Some of those grew with better light. So I think the change of light made it look like a different plant, different environment, different light source. Yeah, I'm thinking it's the same plant. I've got similar leaves up top. Yeah, I like this better than like that. So, yeah, if the whole plant will do that with my light, bravo. So that's how that's doing. And all this shamrock, and yeah, it's got little seeds everywhere. But I haven't got plants growing in the carpet. It really seems to help it use up the water and not take all the water from the plant. So it seems to work. And it's, even though it's effectively a weed, it's a nice little plant in itself. It's got, a nice shade of yellow flower. I think that's one there. A little too close. I don't think that's a seed pod. This one over here. This over here is a seed pod, but that, I think, is a flower. So yeah, it's around. It's doing well. Got a little scorched in the intense heat, but I think I know what did that, and I adjusted where the plant lives. So let me put it home, and I'll show you the new leaf coming out on the Monstera. All right, when I was putting the Shiveriana back, I noticed it was insanely heavy. Then I remembered, yeah. I give it an insane amount of water, a real good watering, to see if those spots would come back, or if maybe it's a little more mature and it can take the extra water. That, and can the shamrock drink up the water enough that we don't get those overwatering spots that I get on that and the Schefflera. There's the new leaf on the Monstera. Like I say, I don't think it is matured enough. Even though it is a top cutting, it seems to have reverted back because, well, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. I was under the impression that a top cutting on a Monstera would keep the more mature leaves. This one clearly didn't. This is the latest leaf. Well, aside from that, this is the latest leaf. Small, incredibly small compared to the more mature leaf that did stay. And I'm hoping it's still growing because it looks like it may be a bit smaller than that leaf. But they're all about that size. There's one back there that's too difficult to see, really. But then we have this one. It's roughly as big as my hand. Yeah, kind of roughly as big as my hand. So they're about the same. Whereas this more mature leaf, yeah, see, I can pretty well hide my hand behind it, and you can't really see it at all. So it stepped back a step or two. The leaf that died, because it was too young, it was just unveiling itself. It was older than that, but hadn't completely opened yet. It died. And I think that's what set it back, is the shock of becoming a cutting, and that leaf just couldn't make it. And I think the plant took a step back, and we'll see. We'll see if I can't get these leaves to mature. I was looking at the golden pothos, I guess those leaves, and its stem. And it was skinny when it was a cutting as well. But it took it quite some time. But after it got around this monstera, it stepped up. Now, I don't know if it's just getting better light in this area, but it looks much healthier out here at the end. It took it quite a while to do it. I would say, I don't know, a year and a half. It just kind of slowly crawled along, and then it poked out on the other side of the monstera and is doing its best imitation of a monstera. Its leaves got quite a bit bigger. Not like 2 times or anything bigger, but bigger. The stem got chunkier and healthier. But it took a while. So I think with the big monstera, Monstera deliciosa, I think I'm just going to give it time. See if it can adjust to this spot. I don't know. Somewhere I heard a distinction between fenestrations, which would be, the slits, fenestrations, and perforations, which this, I'll say, fairly young leaf, it's as mature as it's going to get, but fairly young leaf for the stage that it's at, I guess. So that's a fenestration. But they can also get perforations, which is more like this one over here, a hole that stays within the leaf. Doesn't basically, go out the side. Ebony, you're just going to interrupt the video. So yeah. Fenestrations are the slits, perforations, holes within the leaf. That's how I understand it. That's a distinction, and a distinction worth making, I think. Especially when they show up on the same plant. So there's that. Anything else? I really don't think there's much else going on. So, yeah. I'll leave you with that, I suppose. And talk to you next time.